Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And happy Patch Day and Penny Parker Day. This is going to be a huge day in Marvel Snap. We're going to begin with a review of Penny Parker, but then we also have 4 different decks for you. One that is the perfect home for Penny Parker, and then 3 more, including one each for each of the other Spotlight cards, not just because these are the cards in Spotlights this week, but because these are absolute top-notch decks. And then we have something experimental bouncy for you at the end of the video. Let's get started by talking about Penny, who is a 2/3. On reveal, add Spider to your hand. When this merges, you get +1 energy next turn. So let's talk about Penny herself before we talk about Spider. Penny is a card that obviously can get an extra energy for you on turn 3 by just playing Penny, then playing Spider. Then you'll be able to ramp directly into a 5-drop. We have found in Marvel Snap that ramping into a 5-drop right now is something that's okay to do. You're okay to do it with Sarah. You're okay to do it with cards like Professor X. But generally speaking, it's not something you totally want to go out of your way to do. So that cannot be the main use of Penny. Penny has to have other uses. Well, she's a 2 that gives you a 3. That means you're hitting all your energy on turn 2 and 3 by just playing Penny Parker. To me, that screams Wiccan card. In addition, the ability on Spider is going to give us other options, but Penny herself is a card that makes a ton of sense in a Wiccan deck, insofar as it gives you that extra energy that you would be looking for anyway, and in addition to giving you that extra energy, she also has the ability to, instead of you missing out on your Wiccan triggers, guarantee you that early Wiccan, guarantee you that on schedule hitting that +2 extra energy for the rest of the game. Now, you can also use her to ramp into Wiccan, but it's a very specific situation. If you play Agony before her and then you drop Penny on Agony, that's a merge. You will now have 4 energy on turn 3, which is enough to play Wiccan. Cool. That's really, really strong. This is going to create an archetype where a lot of these cards are going to be in the same decks. So Penny Parker is going to be a meta card because Wiccan is a meta card, and Penny Parker is going to be a must-have for those decks, much like Kate Bishop is right now. In fact, she might even replace Kate Bishop in a lot of those shells, but my guess is that they run both of them and just really, really amp up that consistency. Now, the Spider itself, beyond being a 3/3 merge, which is just decent, right? Like you can merge that onto a lot of things and get a decent amount of power out of it. It gives that card that it merges with 1 free move. Now, there's one card in particular that absolutely adores this, and that card is Human Torch. Obviously, Vulture and Dagger are perfectly happy to hit this, as is Multiple Man, but Human Torch with 1 move, like if you play Human Torch into Penny Parker into Spider on that Human Torch, you now have a 10 power Human Torch that you can play on turn 4. Or once you move that Human Torch from turn 3 to turn 4, you have 10 power, which is huge. And now that is the last card you played, so it's good for a Ghost Spider, for a Doctor Strange. Um, you can, if you want to wait till turn 4, you can play Iron Fist, then play the Spider onto the Human Torch. Get that extra move, make it a 10, and then you can move it one more time to make it a 20. That's going to be incredible. This also might end up really bringing Multiple Man back. We know merging Multiple Man is important, like Phoenix Force, and Penny Parker thus might be a Phoenix Force card with Multiple Man as an extra way to just sort of have 6 power multiple men that self move. All of this together means I think Penny Parker is very likely to be the card of the month. Doctor Doom is an archetype all his own. He is just a brand new card. Galactus goes in everything. I think she's absolutely incredible. I think later on this month, Rocket and Raccoon are going to be great cards, but Penny Parker is my pick for the best card of the month because it enables move shells. It enables Phoenix Force. It enables Wiccan. And we'll see if it ends up in time enabling its own merge shenanigans decks. So overall, I think Penny Parker is an absolute must-own card. I'm really excited for her. And she even comes with 2 really powerful cards. Now, both Gladiator and Sasquatch are Series 4s. Gladiator is a 3/8 on reveal. Play the top card of your opponent's deck here. If it has less power than this being Gladiator, destroy it. So you've probably seen Gladiator. If you have Fenris Wolf, if you want to play Mill, if you just want a really good 3 on the cheap, then Gladiator is an absolutely excellent buy. Sasquatch has significantly fewer homes than Gladiator right now, but Sasquatch is a card that's in and out of the meta in top decks. Sasquatch has multiple times in this card's history been in the best deck in Marvel Snap. So what Sasquatch has is Sasquatch is a 6/10 that costs 1 less for each card you played last turn. The real synergy for this is largely Mysterio, which is going to give you a 310. 310 is through the roof stats and worth running in and of itself, but then you combine that with Mockingbird, who would also be a 3-9, and all of a sudden you're just way, way, way ahead of the curve. These two cards coming with Penny Parker makes this the cash of the month if you're missing these cards to grab. You get Penny Parker, who has at least 3 or 4 shells, Sasquatch, which has 1 shell, but it's a very powerful shell, and Gladiator, which goes in multiple decks. This is an amazing, amazing week. Let's get to the Penny Parker deck. Now, I want to start out with not going to leave you out, people who aren't going to open for Penny. This deck works great. I've been playing this a lot on Infinite Leaderboard right now. This is from Scott Denham, the head writer at at SnapFan, and this deck is absolutely awesome. It is, he calls it Galacta with all the 4s in place of the A's because it's running for 4 drops. Penny Parker fits absolutely perfectly into this, but you do not need Penny Parker for this list. This list is just powerful. You can go Zabu or Psylocke into a 4-drop. You can just go Kate Bishop and another 2-drop. Kate into Nocturne and hit all of these different things that you can pull off with this deck. Add massive amounts of power, so much power that opponents will really, really have a hard time competing with you. I managed to just straight up on just power and patience and timing beat a negative deck with this. This is a very strong list. All right, you can find Scott Dunham at excuse me, I spelled that wrong. It's twitter.com/ScoDenim, like denim as in jeans. So please do check him out. He'll also be on the podcast this coming week of Snap Judgments to talk about both the patch and the OTA. He is again Snap fans lead writer. He's totally prolific, phenomenal person, phenomenal writer. He and Den carry the writing community in this game. Needs Zabu, Wiccan, Galactic, and Gwenpool are your 4 needed cards for this. I urge you once more to continue to, if you are able to financially buy season passes. You'll note that Galactic and Gwenpool are season pass cards. Zabu was a season pass card. The needed cards tend to be in season passes. Wiccan is the one card that you would have to have invested in, and Wiccan remains, just for the record, the card I was most wrong about in the year of 2024. It is the single card in Marvel Snap that I thought wouldn't be as good as it is that ended up being absolutely meta, one of my favorite cards. Kitty series drops today, so don't worry about getting Kitty. If you are on your way through Series 3, you can just get her as a Series 3 card. There's also a Zabu bundle that we'll review tomorrow for you, but it is great value. That is today if you don't have Zabu. Agony can be America Chavez. You lose a bit here, especially if you have Penny Parker, but it's fine. Odds are most people got Agony anyway because High Voltage wasn't hard to complete. Nocturne can be Red Guardian, Mobius, Gladiator, Speed, Negasonic. Pick your 3. Nocturne is nice here because if you can get Nocturne, the trigger with Galacta, right? Now you have a vision, or close enough to a vision. One off a vision that changes a location. Kate can be Penny Parker. You need Kate Bishop otherwise. Sorry. Again, season passes are important, y'all. Bob can be a Maria Hill or Snowguard. Play a few games, see what you're missing on curve more, 2s or 3s, and place that card in replace of Hydra Bob. Hydra Bob, I think, is the single card that if you're just looking for a card that goes in a lot of decks and you have a couple decks that you're just trying to fill out, is the single card that you probably most want to just grab, at least after the OTA this Thursday. He's basically the new Jeff. Alioth can be Shang-Chi. I think Alioth is important, but Shang should be able to fundamentally replace it. You're just going to have to play differently. Remember to try and throw Pariah. And one more thing. Here is the version with, the hell, Penny didn't save in the list. All right, Penny is supposed to be in the Psylocke spot for this. It didn't save properly. Please excuse me. But Penny Parker should be in the Psylocke spot. That's where Scott wants to try out Penny on the logic that you can go Agony into Penny Parker. And then you get the same Psylocke energy, and then if not, you just have all the consistency in the world. I personally think I'm very likely to replace Nocturne with Penny Parker. You can also consider replacing, obviously, Kate Bishop with Penny Parker. So turn 1, Kitty if you don't have a 2-drop and you have extra 1s. Zabu is your otherwise play, and then you can play other ones if you don't have Zabu. Turn 2, Psylocke if you have Wiccan, Galacta, or Gwenpool in hand. If not, you play Kate if you don't have a 3. If not, you play 2 1s. And obviously, Penny would be a 2 here that you would play if you have no 3 over Kate. Turn 3 is, if you can, Wiccan, Galacta, or Gwenpool. You would usually hold Captain Marvel at this point, but it's possible you play it. Over Nocturne, over a 2+1. Turn 4, Wiccan is your priority over Galacta, over Gwenpool. There is some debate when I play the game, and it often comes down to locations. If I get that Psylocke on 2 and I have Wiccan and Galacta in hand, sometimes I'll Galacta before Wickening. It's rare, but it is not impossible, depending on locations. If I don't have a lot of space and I know that that extra turn of Wiccan's not going to really allow me to play as many extra cards as I'd like, I want the extra +3 power from Galacta. Turn 5 is a 4 plus a 2 or a 3, and this is where I think Spider will really shine, because at that point you can play like Gwenpool and Spider, and then you're double pumping something, and then Spider can further move. And then turn 6 is Alioth plus 2 or 2 force, and then you win. All right, we're going to look at a deck that went 15-1 throughout the 90s after this, but this is my day one Penny Parker home. Thank you so much for sharing this, Scott, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you on Thursday. This deck is awesome. If you have access to half of this deck, you absolutely must play it. Before we go further, I'm going to shoot at that sub button as we try to hit 16,000 subs by the end of 2024. We've got about 2 weeks left and about 300 subs left, so hit that sub button to help us get there. In return, we do 7 days a week of Marvel Snap videos. I believe we're doing 10 full-length videos this week, so you will get more Marvel Snap content absolutely nowhere. Please hit that sub button to stay on top of the meta. You get at least 3 brand new decks every day. A like and a comment help us out with that YouTube algorithm, and enter you to win a Galacta season pass. So if you're still missing Galacta, please make sure to hit that sub button, like, and then later this video, I'm going to ask you to leave a comment. One video this week has a Galacta hidden in the comments to the video by answering the daily questions. You answer that question, you get a at the end of the week on, I believe, either Saturday or Sunday's video, you get Galacta. Pretty good deal, right? All right. Combat's Mill Galacta. Combat took a while to hit infinite this month. Usually it's infinite in like a day, and life got in the way, and then he went 15-1. He just completely rolled straight to infinite through the 90s with this list. So I know a decent amount of my community is in the 80s and 90s. This list is proven to absolutely rock the Infinite Leaderboard. Combat is on the EU server, so keep that in mind. The meta is slightly different depending on where in the world you are, but this is a list that can absolutely, absolutely take you there. And no, you do not need Luna Snow. She's very good here, but you do not need her. All right, so you can find Combat at youtube.com/@CombatSnap. This deck needs Fenris, Zemo, Galacta, and Proxima. Often in these lists, you can replace Proxima with Swarm if you're used to seeing Goon Knight style lists. However, the problem here is you're really gambiting last turn of the game with only Proxima in hand, which doesn't really give you time to play Swarm where you would otherwise. So Grandmaster can be Cable if you're missing Grandmaster. It just gets a little millier and you end up fine. Luna can be Misery, Red Guardian, Mobius, or Shang-Chi. All right, so 15-1, Blaze through the next turn 1, Yondu, turn 2, Fenris, nothing complicated. You can, but I don't suggest Grandmaster and Yondu. It's just not worth it. There's better Grandmaster targets later. Turn 3 is Luna if you have Black Bolt in hand. If not, you want Gladiator over Negasonic or Zemo. Turn 4, if you can, Black Bolt. Galactus obviously perfectly fine here. You can also, if you drew Yondu, you can go Galactus and a 1 if you Lunid, which is pretty damn good. All of a sudden you have a 1/5, which is basically Hydra Bob stats from that Galacta. Then you can play if you played that Fenris, now you can Black Bolt on turn 5. Or you can play Fenris and Negasonic. And then turn 6, Gambit, or Zemo with Stature, and then whatever else you can. Cool. This list is very powerful. It doesn't look as like, if you've seen any Goon Knight, you should recognize how powerful this type of deck is. Black Bolt and Stature are one of the most underrated combos in the game. They spent time being the best deck in the game, like literally a really long time in Marvel Snap of being the very best deck, and they are 100% worth playing, worth experimenting with. Quick note about the Grandmaster thing. Grandmaster drops to Series 4 later today, so you have extra access to this list if you want it. Please remember, Luna is not a requirement. What Luna's real use here is on the last turn of the game, when you want to go Stature along with Negasonic and Gambit, she allows you to do that. Or Zemo and Gambit, she allows you to do that. Please do check out the stream team, which is some of my streamer friends who play these decks. Today is Tuesday, so at 12 p.m. Eastern, the great Prashaun will be giving these decks a whirl. All right, the Cook. The Cook is a deck that was the best in the game about 2 or 3 seasons ago, and it's fallen off since. It had a real moment where it won the Marvel Snap Creator Tournament and was near the top of the Infinite Leaderboard. I believe it finished in number 1 and number 2 slot that season. It is a through-the-roof powerful list. It has continued to evolve, now to include Galacta. This is the type of list that Sasquatch is needed for. The player who made this is Derek, who is the #1 player in both the August and September seasons, and then #2 in October. This deck needs Mockingbird, Sasquatch, Gwenpool, and Hope. If you don't have Elsa Bloodstone, in a few days she will be free, and Kitty series drop. So they're doing a daily login reward. If you log in every day, you'll just get Elsa Bloodstone, and Kitty is going to series drop. Jeff, the baby landshark, can be Kate Bishop or Red Guardian, and don't listen to those Marvel Rivals players talking bad about Jeff. Jeff is awesome. Jeff can be Kate or Red Guardian. You do want Jeff to be something higher series if possible. Unfortunately, the real power of Kate Bishop here is that it helps you make Mockingbird cheaper if you don't see your Mysterio. Although, if you do have Galacta, then Sinister will at least knock one off the cost of Mockingbird. All right, Galacta can be Iron Man, Sean, Gladiator, Super Skrull. At that point, you're also cutting Sinister, and we'll take a look at that. The previous version of this is on the next slide. Like, this is the previous version of the Cook from, I don't know, 3 weeks ago now. That was near the top of the Infinite Leaderboard. This is, I want to say, the version KX4N was playing. It is, so this list still works just fine. If you get Sasquatch and don't have Galacta, or don't have some of those other cards and want to give it a try this way. All right. So if you've been waiting to get into this deck, there is no time like the present. This deck still puts out as much power as anything in really, really unpredictable ways. It's a wonderful cube stealer. Turn 1, Kitty over Nightcrawler. Turn 2, Jeff over Kitty over Nightcrawler. And you will happily Mysterio here if you can get a 3/10 out, if you can get Sasquatch out on turn 3. Turn 3 is Hope Summers over Elsa, obviously beyond the Sasquatch thing. Turn 4, Galacta if no Mysterio, and Gwen if you still have Mysterio. So you could go Mysterio into Sasquatch into Galacta, or you can go Jeff into Hope into Galacta on Hope into Mysterio, or Mysterio and other cards. Cool? Sorry, excuse me. Gwen on Hope and Mysterio. And then you want to play as much stuff on Hope with Mysterio as you can, or you can just Sasquatch. Please note, if you played on Hope, you have 6 energy on turn 4. On turn 5, which means you can play Galacta and Mysterio together on turn 5, which is silly. You can also just play Mysterio with like your Nightcrawlers and Kitties and Jeffs of the world just fine if you want to get that Sasquatch as cheap as possible. So turn 6 is Sasquatch Mockingbird, and then whatever else you can, and then you usually just win. This list is very cool. Quick point of notice on the variants. I went over this in yesterday's video and over split rates. Today should be the end of Splitsmiths, so split rates go down. I'd also like to note I did end up getting that Mockingbird bundle. I felt like I just could use the gold, and I might as well get the extra credits while I was in the process of getting the gold. And this is the only the second Sasquatch variant in the game after the previous Spotlight variant. So I'm going to be getting the Sasquatch variant, although I think it's kind of ugly, just to have a variant for Sasquatch. There's very few cards in Marvel Snap that I will not have a variant for after this. I think it might just be Agony and Eitri who do not have variants, although I have to double check that. All right, season pass question. What do you prefer, Move or Wiccan, and why? So given Penny Parker will go in those, what do you want to play her in if you were to get her? Are you a Move player? Are you a Wiccan player? Is there something else? Why? Let me know in the comments to enter to win that Galactus season pass. Our last deck is a Fazor Bounce. So everyone kept putting Gore in Hitmonkey Bounce, and I did not like that. So in those decks, you were basically stuck trying to play Gore on 6, and then you had to go off with your Hitmonkey on 5. If you're going off with your Hitmonkey on 5, now you really only have 2 turns to play Black Swan, and the whole rest of the deck sort of falls apart. You need to be able to play Gore on 6 for it to make sense for me to be a viable play and bounce, as opposed to just playing like Iron Man, which is obviously a very powerful card. So Fazor took that to heart and ended up making this Werewolf Gore bounce, because Werewolf by Night says, hey, no problem. You play me on 3, not even 4 or 5, and then you can spend the next couple turns moving me around. Hell, if you can get Black Swan out, you can even go like spend turn 5 going bouncers and Sage, right? And then trigger your Black Swan. So that is very, very powerful and very cool. My one concern about this, well, I have 2 concerns about this. My one big concern about this list is I feel like this really wants Falcon, and it doesn't have it. And Hood, Iceman over Hood, I'm not 1,000% sold on, but like I tried it, and this list felt really, really good. So you can find Fazor creating really cool decks at twitter.com/Fazor_snap. This deck needs Werewolf, Sage, and Black Swan. Silver Sable and Nico can be Hood and Bast. Agent Venom or Toxin can be Falcon or US Agent. And Gore can be Iron Man. So I miss Werewolf. Werewolf is one of my favorite cards. If you're not seeing a bunch of Scream, this deck still works. If you are seeing a bunch of Scream, please don't play Werewolf. Turn 1, you want Iceman over Sable. Turn 2, you want Agent Venom over Swan. Turn 3, Werewolf over Agent Venom over Swan. Turn 4, now you must Swan no matter what else is happening, and then you move the Wolf. Turn 5, move Wolf and bounce ones. Play Sage if you have it. Turn 6, replay free ones and Gore. Make sure you leave Wolf in the right spot. Make sure you leave Gore in the right spot. You have an insurmountable amount of power. If you got Bishop out on turn 3 and Werewolf on turn 4, you end up basically fine. You can even Werewolf on turn 5 if you end up like getting Swan out on 4 and then you go Werewolf and a 1 on 5. Or Werewolf, sorry, and Toxin back some 1s or on 5. And then you can end up triggering the Swan, and then you could still get Werewolf to a reasonable enough height to win, and then Bishop is probably big enough. It's really, really cool. This deck has a lot of play patterns and is very powerful. Give it some go. Questions of the day. So Devilpool asked about the cheating scandal video. So that video was deleted. A player had their real life profile picture in it, and so they created a privacy strike on it. Their profile picture was like their actual photo, so they created a privacy strike. When they told me about it, they told me their real name was also Levi Ackerman, which is not accurate. That is a character from Attack on Titan, but I didn't watch that, so I didn't realize that at first. But whatever, it was their real profile picture, so it was removed. Even though that profile picture was on many a public forum, so be it. So I reposted it, the cheating video yesterday afternoon. So if you missed it, you should watch it as soon as possible, because now that the people who are named and look bad in the video for cheating know that, which I assume is the Mafia because it's definitely not Sizer. They're now trying to privacy strike that video as well. So keep an eye out on that. If you would like to watch it, please watch it as soon as possible because I'm not sure it'll be up. There is still a follow-up video happening, and at this point, like 7,000 or 8,000 people have seen that video. So I might just do the follow-up video even if the original is no longer live. Grid Pro Joe wants my favorite base art card and my favorite piece of art. So my favorite base art is Makari. Makari animated looks absolutely amazing. It feels very Flash-esque. I love the way she looks as she animates and goes on the board. Just phenomenally gorgeous card. My favorite piece of art is this by Claude Monet. I don't know why, but I absolutely love it. I saw it in somewhere live at some point, and I stared at it for like a half hour. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It has a lot of feelings in it that I really enjoy. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. I'm going to say thank you to Abigail Kiesland, Mandatory Burnout, Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, Dan Ton, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., I Am Frostman, Jay Neverwin, Thinking Poker, Prime Brian, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Kiertixley, Quire, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Pyrofros, The Goat Seeker, Hollowed, Quid Pro Joe, Snap Decisions Joe, Bat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, XFC and Skippy G, Jessica Campbell, Tommy Nyquist, The King of Bros, The Great Kazoo, Kevsey Hoda, Lunarquist, Corwin, John Q, Jimmy McHugh, Clam, Colonel Forbin, Yistout, 8th Sage, Mod Supreme Models, The Green Goblin, Unibot, Flan 56, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B, Jake D. McDonaldinho, the Fuzzy Dom, Spectrumix, Hoot, Matt H, DJ Mikey Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Ocularis, Mr. Craig Sterry, BG, Zodrex, the King of Canada, Ten Man Falcon, Jonesy, the Great Two Ties, the Greatest, Lauren Whatevs, the Perry King Tucker, and of course Gunny T. And it just occurred to me that someone else hit that $10 sub. I need to add him to the slide. Sorry, my friend, whoever that was, you will be on tomorrow. I was out yesterday when I saw it, and it just occurred to me that I never added it. Today is going to be a very busy day. Hopefully, I will have a second video later today going over some, what's the word I'm looking for? Going over some data mine information as soon as we have access to that. And then we'll be back tomorrow morning with a regular Snap Take video. If you're interested, hit that sub button. Don't forget, it should be right on the screen, right in front of you, right between the two videos that are suggested. Thanks for watching. Appreciate y'all. Peace.